Hello. Go ahead.
Ben, it is so good to see you again.
Good to see you as well. It's been a while.
I want you to just quickly explain to the audience what happened to the hand, because it's a great story.
Yeah, I was running a 50K on Orcas Island in Washington.
50K.
And
Did you get that?
I fell and on a slippery kind of footbridge and broke my wrist. And that was like 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
and the first thing he asks is not about the guitar, but...
when can I run again?
just like us, just like us. So I'm really fascinated by album titles, and I want you to talk about the album title, Kintsugi.
Yeah, it was a term that our bass player, Nick Harmer, who is obviously not here today, kind of came across, and it refers to, its literal translation is golden joining. And it's a technique in Japanese pottery repair where instead of just making a piece of pottery look like it used to look, just trying to make it look new, you use gold in the binding to kind of give it like, you know, gold lines around where the breakages have happened. So we thought it was a really nice kind of concept and decided to use it.
And a nice homage to the new configuration of Death Cab as well.
Yeah, a nice configuration to a lot of things.
Yeah,
so I think it works on a lot of levels.
Life is good. You have a Portland-based girlfriend who's up in Seattle, and you're spending time here. I love it. It's why he looks awesome, by the way. Yeah.
With all of my time in Portland,
Exactly.
all of the vegan ice cream and, and things I've been eating.
When I first interviewed you, we talked about the way you approached your songwriting. And you said that you did it just like a job. You made yourself a sandwich. You actually went to an office. Mm-hmm. So do you still do that, and has your sandwich changed?
I still do that. I actually literally have an office in downtown Seattle that I go to. You know, I mean, not every day, but you know, when I'm actually actively writing, I go there. And the sandwich has changed, if only because I found the sandwich place that I like in Pioneer Square.
Ah, nice, very nice.
Well, Kintsugi is the first album, if I'm not incorrect, the first album where you've worked with an outside producer.
Yes,
Rick Costi has worked with Muse and Foster the People. Tell me how that was different, exciting, scary, and the results sound awesome.
It was different in the sense that I think we all realized just how valuable a relatively objective person can be while running a recording session. Not that, I mean, Chris's work with the band over the years has been amazing, and I wouldn't change a note of it, but I think being in the studio with an outside producer kind of gave us this perspective of like, oh, this guy doesn't have to play the songs with us after we leave the studio. He's actually, his only job is making this particular thing as good as it possibly can, and that is just, that dynamic is just different. It's not necessarily better or worse, but it certainly makes for a new experience. And it was a little bit scary at first. I think like all new experiences are, they're a little bit scary and exciting at the same time. But I think Black Sun was the first song we recorded with Rich, and I think by the end of that week, we all knew that we'd made the right choice in going with him.
We were in the studio playing Black Sun. Maybe it was the first or second time that we spun it. Okay, it plays on a computer, but you know, it's more romantic to say we spun the platter, you know. But I reached over and turned up the monitor in studio, because that big walloping guitar, this beautiful lush arrangement and these beautiful melancholy ideas, and then all of a sudden this guitar is just ripping, and I'm like, oh, nice, Death Cab, nice. So tell me about that kind of, you joke that Rick brought the muscle. Tell me what that meant in this context.
Well, I think that one thing that we really liked about Rich's work before we worked with him was that he really makes rock bands sound like rock bands, and I think that over the years, you know, I think the experience of listening to our band has been twofold. The records have always been fairly lush and orchestrated, and there were moments that rocked on the records. Yeah. But I think we were very much a rock band when we played live, and I think that Rich really captured that kind of energy in the studio in a way that it had been difficult to do before.
So last question for you. When you write the songs, they take on a certain, they're at a certain stage of life. You go to record them, and then you let them go out into the world. I got a letter yesterday from a listener who literally gave one of your songs credit for A, saving his life after a difficult period of addiction, and B, gave you credit for connecting him to another person in his life who also loved the same song, and now they're together.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's
So,
very
do you have any expectations at all? I mean, the songs go out and become what they're going to become to each of us who listen. What do they become for you when you release them into the world?
Well, I think I would first say that it would take a lot of ego to like be writing a song and thinking about like helping people.
The babies being born, the love making that's happening.
You know, I mean, I think for me when I'm writing a song, I just, you know, the moment that I'm always trying to kind of capture is just the satisfaction of finishing something that I'm really proud of and that I feel is really translating exactly what I want to say. And I feel like the songs of ours that have been the most successful and transcended amongst people who are fans of the band have been the ones that I've really enjoyed writing and that we've enjoyed recording and that have kind of felt effortless in the writing process and the recording process. And that's not the same for every song. I mean, you know, and so I feel like if I'm feeling a particular emotion or feeling like drawn to writing a subject about a certain song, and that I do that effectively in the writing process, I like to hope that it will resonate with people the same way. And what that song means in their lives varies from person to person. But you know, obviously, when you hear a story like that, it's really touching, and it, you know, it makes you realize that all music has powers that, you know, kind of cosmic that we don't really take into account very often. You know.
Thanks for using your powers for goodness, then.
Yeah.
I've used my powers for evil before. Too.
More music. Death Cab for Cutie.
There is whiskey in the water, and there is death upon the vine. There is fear in the eyes of your father, and there is yours and there is mine. There is a desert veiled in pavement, there's a city of 7 hills. Now our debris flows to the ocean to meet again, I hope it will. How could something so fair be so cruel when sun revolved around you. There is an answer and a question, and there is hope within despair. And there is beauty in a failure, and there are depths beyond compare. There is a role of a lifetime, and there's a song yet to be sung. There's a dumpster in the driveway of all the plans that came undone. How could something so fair be so cruel when black sun revolved around you? How could something be so cruel when this black sun revolved around you. There is whiskey in the water, and there is death upon the vine, and there is grace within forgiveness, but it's so hard for me to find. How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolved around you? How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolved around you? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the two new members of the band Death Cab for Cutie, Mr. Zach Ray on piano. And this next song is on our new record. The song is called No Room in Frame. I don't know where to begin. There's too many things that I can't remember, as I disappeared like a trend in the hum of the 5 in the early morning. And now I'm taking my time up through Coalinga, through the valley. This highway lived in my mind, and it takes me back to the place that made me. Was I in your way when the cameras turned to face you? No room in frame for two. Cannot outrun a ghost speeding southbound lanes with abandon. It catches you on the coast or on the cliffs of the Palisades. You killed the engine and then it hovers above, reeling bodies failing to discover a thing they once knew as love, raising their voices to convince one another. Was I in your way when the cameras turned to face you? No room in frame for two. How can I stay in the sun when the rain flows all through my veins? It's true, and I guess it's not a failure we could help, and we'll both go on to get lonely with someone else, with someone else. Was I in your way when the cameras turned to face you? No room in frame for two. And how can I stay in the sun when the rain flows all through my veins? It's true, and I guess it's not a failure we could help, and we'll both go on to get lonely with someone else. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming and watching us play some tunes for you. This is an oldie by modern standards. Thank you for coming. Burn it down till the embers smoke on the ground, and start new when your heart is an empty room with walls of the deepest blue. Home's face, how it ages when you're away. Spring blooms and you find the love that's true, but you don't know what now to do, 'cause the chase is all you know. And she stopped running months ago, and all you see is where else you could be when you're at home. And out on the street are so many possibilities to not be alone. The flames and smoke climbed out of every window and disappeared with everything that you held dear, but you shed not a single tear for the things that you didn't need, 'cause you knew you were finally free. 'Cause all you see is where else you could be when you're at home. And out on the street are so many possibilities to not be alone. And all you see is where else you could be when you're at home. And out on the street are so many possibilities to not be alone. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Death Cab for Cutie, everybody.